150. 143. 145. 148. 150. 153. 155. 158. 160. 162. 165. 167. 170. 172. 175. 178. 180. 183. 186. 189. 192. 195. 197. 200. 203. 205. 206. 229. 231. 234. 236. 239. 242. 244. 247. 249. 251. 253. 256. 259. 262. 264. 267. 269. 272. 275. 277. 280. 283. 285. 287. 289. 291. 293. 296. 298. 302.
10 nautize.
Four. 307. 308. one.
Well, this is Dave Causier at his very best, top of the table, beautiful control, making it look so simple. Already had a 300 break at the start of this match, and we're only 25 minutes into it at this stage. And while this looks relatively simple, I can assure you that it is anything but. Playing postman's knock, as it's called, where you can see the yellow ball wedged on the cushion, and Dave will take the pot red and then play the little cannon down onto the yellow, and if he gets postman's knock correctly, it'll go gadunk and the yellow won't move at all. And there you just see it. Wonderful use of right hand side there off two cushions for Dave, just to bring the cue ball out high so that he can come up the table a little bit off this pot red, which leaves him perfectly angled to play the cannon. And again, he'll either go gently onto the front of the yellow or perhaps may have to move it. He's able to swing it right across the front there. His accuracy on these pots is quite amazing. You'll see so many people missing those. Break at 63 already. Angus McAnally here with you in commentary, and it's a pleasure to be watching this fantastic streaming, and great to have Billiards available to be seen all over the world. TYP Live doing such a fantastic job. Young Sam here, fantastic man, and it's really wonderful to have great coverage, and let's hope we have much more of it in the future. And again, there's that postman's knock, just the little sound of the postman always knocks twice, gadunk. And you can see Dave will always make sure that he gets high on the red so that he can play that little cannon there. You're only allowed 2 consecutive pots red off the spot before it goes up to the middle spot, and in order for that not to happen, Dave's putting in a little cannon sequence after he takes 1 red off the spot. So that's that red off the spot, so he now has to either run through 2 cushions up to the centre, or he'll just stun across for the, or he can just gently get the little cannon there. And you can see the yellow hasn't budged in the last 40 or 50 points. And one has to feel sorry for Mick White, who broke off and has been sitting in his chair. Just sat beside him for a moment there, and he said, "This is unbelievable." He said, "This is unplayable." And when top of the table has been playing at its best, it looks like as if nothing is happening, but I can assure you the control that Dave is showing there, right hand side now to swing. You can see there the spots on the white, giving you a great example of the way the cue ball can turn with side, and bringing the red ball up the table. Now play another, if the angle is right, he'll go for the drop cannon again, and you see the white back onto the yellow. He's actually managed to get that one without budging the yellow ball. So can he get the red into a potable position? Had to move the yellow there, but just watch, in a couple of shots now he'll get himself onto the cushion to move the yellow back to the spot just behind the billiard spot there on the top cushion. Trying to move it there with that little cannon. I think it's an in-off red here now. And again, he can play a slow drop cannon with drag. And you can see the way he gets that wonderful throw of the ball. And that's one of his signature shots, where he plays the cannon to leave the pot red on, but brings the yellow back exactly where he needs it. Little push off the red and move the yellow a little bit, just getting it closer. Now when he goes high on the red, by that I mean bringing the cue ball up the table a little bit. This next shot will with a bit of right hand side on the cue ball will move the yellow into behind the billiard spot. And you see it there, so he centered it again and he's back to where he started. And having been on the receiving end of many drubbings from Dave, it's totally demoralizing when you think he's got out of position, and in 3 or 4 shots he brings it back to exactly the starting point again. So gently moving the yellow ball back towards the postman's knock position, and if it's perfect he can keep it there. If not, he will play a fuller contact on it and bring it off the cushion, which gives him great options then. He certainly could do that here if he wants to release it. And you can see they're just taking it an inch off the cushion, and again pop the red onto the side cushion and out. And his speed of scoring is quite phenomenal. Many amateur players would be thrilled to score 200 points, 250 points in an hour, and we're 30 minutes into the match and Dave is on 469 points already. And again correcting the position of the yellow so that he has it almost directly behind the cue ball, or behind the billiard spot. 2 positions that the players use. One is the postman's knock, as I mentioned earlier on, and the other is floating white, where the object ball, the other player's ball, is behind and to one side of the billiard spot, as you see it there from Dave. An awful lot of players end up just straight behind the red, which means they can only go forwards or backwards. You'll always see that Dave endeavours to leave himself a better angle so that he can work the cue ball much better, and always likes to get high above the billiard spot so that he can have options to use lots of left hand side. In this instance you can see it there, and just gently getting that cannon. And to anybody who might be watching live streaming of billiards for the first time, it's a beautiful game. It used to be a plain white, and a white with a spot on it and a red, and in order to make it easier and better to view on colour television particularly, the other cue ball has been made a yellow, and with the spots on it I think it's really wonderful to see the effective side that the players use. So the scoring is anything to do with the red, i.e. a pot on the red, or what's called an in-off, or a losing hazard, where you hit the red and the cue ball goes into the pocket, which obviously in snooker would be a foul, but in billiards that's a score, that's a hazard. So anything on the red is 3, and anything on the other cue ball is 2. So a pot yellow or an in-off yellow would be 2. And a cannon, which is where Dave has just done one there, where your ball hits both the other 2 balls, that's 2 points as well. And one of the great skills that the top players have is keeping all 3 balls on the table, because if your opponent's ball, as in either the white or the yellow, is potted, it stays down, it does not come back up until the end of the break. So for Dave to have amassed this extraordinary score after just over 35 minutes or whatever, approximately 526 to 0. A lovely Scottish billiard player, Roy, was playing the wonderful Mike Russell, and he broke off and Mike made a 400, and then Roy played a safety shot and Mike made it 300, and then Roy scored 8 and then Mike made 400. So after 3 visits to the table, the score was 1,000, played 8. So us amateurs know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a drubbing. It really is difficult on occasions to emphasise just how beautifully controlled Dave Causier's play is, as in Peter Gilchrist as well, and Mike Russell, and all the top players who play this top of the table so well, many of the Indian players as well. It looks relatively simple. The play contains in the width of the table and maybe 2 to 3 foot in length of it. But believe you me, it is unbelievably difficult. Dave using lots of right hand side there to check it off the cushion and just kill the pace of the cue ball. And again, this sequence of the little cannon pushing the yellow down towards the centre of the cushion. And if he wants to, he can play his postman's knock shot, or if not, he'll play sequences of the pot cannon to move it off the cushion. Just a bit light on that one. I think a bit of a kick, perhaps. You could see Dave's reaction there. So little stun, and managed there to get the cannon and bring the red back to the yellow. That's wonderful control again. He may play off the yellow here. No, he's going to go. He has such confidence in his potting. One of the things that I'd love to see happen is somebody like Sean Murphy, world champion, who's living in my home city of Dublin, who's a wonderful snooker player, as you know, unlucky not to win the World Championships this season, but is a 300 break man in billiards, and I'd love to see Dave and Sean battle it out over maybe a best of 5 in snooker and then maybe a 500, although just thinking there's Dave in 2 visits has made 585, but it would be wonderful to see how the top players in snooker can adapt to a very different skill. I think so much of snooker is little gentle stun pots around the pink and the black spot. An awful lot of billiards is gentle above centre striking, but the control, and Dave's potting I find quite awesome. I spent a week with him in practice a couple of months ago, and in 8-hour days that we spent on the table, he missed I think 3 pots in a week. I refused to cook his breakfast after that.
I'm not surprised. Sorry, Angus, I was just trying to catch a break to mute myself. I'll just have to catch up with that one. Yeah, for someone who's relatively new to the world of billiards, it's fascinating to see.
It's such a skilled game. A round of applause there for
300.
Yep.
Did hear he knocked in 400 plus break on one of the outside tables earlier.
Yes. I don't think anybody should ask Mick White at this match finishes, how did that go for you? How's that going for you, Mike? Now is Dave going to play a kiss cannon, or is he trying to get in off? Oh, just loads of left-hand side to swing it in. Lovely, delicate shot there. That is so difficult to get the right amount of deep but gentle screw with a lovely left-hand side here now. In off red.
Oh.
And he's missed it. Well, 38 minutes into this match and Dave has missed for the second time. 626. A chance now for Mick White. Oh, it's so hard when you're cold like that.
Yeah, just about to say his first shot was the very first one.
Great shot, Dave played that running side, right hand side off the red to bring the cue ball across it. Now we might see a long Jenny here, which will be loads of left hand side, and the pocket to the right of the red here, the white should go in, so the side will just grab. Has he enough? Yes, you can just see literally the side grabbing there. And one more in off yellow to set up for what's called the drop cannon. And a drop cannon, you'll see a kind of a V shape when Dave puts the white there. So now the yellow's going to go off the side cushion, the top cushion, and come up behind the spot And there it is, directly in that position that he wants, and suddenly he's back where he started again. Running side, pushing through 2 cushions. Dave's very, very good at this particular shot. Makes it look so easy. And again, you can see him getting high of the red so that he can move the yellow if he wants to on this little cannon. And he's just corrected the yellow. That's such a delicate shot. The yellow was a couple of inches too far to his, as far as he saw it, hit the right-hand side, so he's just moved it back in out. Oh, an uncharacteristic miss. But I think there'll be a round of applause now for Mick when he gets this red. Mick trying to get onto the half ball line. There's a line from the centre pockets right down to the red. If you play at half ball, the automatic in-off happens. And he was just slightly off that line, so that's why he's missed that one. But he's left Dave an easy opener here now. In off the yellow, bring the yellow back to the... See that look? And suddenly in one shot he has it behind the spot exactly where he wants. Now run the red once or twice until he gets the correct angle for either the drop cannon or a pot to the middle. Now, in the humour that Dave's in, I'd fully expect him to play the pot here and just run through about 3 feet. That needs to bounce. That needs to bounce. He's a bit low on the red. However, if he's feeling up for it, he could take the red right in and out of the cue ball, in and out of the ball. No, he's played the in-off. But now what he wants to do is get the pot and stay high of the billiard spot. Played with more pace that time to make sure the cue ball came up high, and suddenly he's back in business. Onto the top cushion and a little flick on the yellow. You see the right hand side just correcting the white there, and run through off 2 cushions with the right hand side to bring him out again. This is just a masterclass in how to play.
Was just going to be a question. I was going to ask, what is the record on?
In 1 hour?
Yeah.
Dave has certainly done 800, 900 in an hour. I don't think anybody has done 1,000 in an hour. If you think about it, you'd have to score 15 points a minute for the entire game to make 900 points. But I remember refereeing Dave, and I looked at my watch, and literally there were 2 minutes left as he came to the table, and when the beeper went, he was on 56, so 28 a minute. And if you think that it's 2 or 3 is the points you're scoring per shot, he was doing 8, 9 shots per minute, so a shot time of what, 6-7 seconds. When we're so used to seeing the average shot time in snooker being, you know, somebody at 14, 13, 17 seconds, whatever. But certainly Dave can be playing at 6-7 seconds regularly. And showing respect to the table there, but didn't want to try and take that red with too much pace. So going to play the half ball in off. The cue ball comes into the corner pocket there, and he's suddenly ready now. He can either go pot red, or in fact going to play half ball in off, bring the red up and down. And if it comes up high enough, he can play a second in off, but from where it is there, he could play the drop cannon. So right hand side, and the cue ball swings across and hits the yellow and gathers them together. And off we go again. Oh, no, there's a bit of cover here, so running through with the running side, left-hand side that just grabs. One of the great things about billiards is that you can use side very much to your advantage, in that when it grabs the corner pocket, the side literally will spin the ball into the pocket. So it gives you a bit of extra width in the pocket.
How wide these pockets are.
Some of the other tables in the club are very generous. These ones aren't particularly so.
Oh, compared to dealers, yeah. I
Now,
would say compared to
another long jenny here into the corner pocket. Watch the left hand side. Watch the cue ball, just always gone a bit early. Yeah, just went into the cue ball a bit too much there. So a disastrous 66 break for Dave. a miscue for Causier, 66. Now make half ball in off if you can and bring the red up and down. Now you should rescue the white here. Play a gentle in off here, bring the cue ball up towards the halfway point on the table so that he has an in off, might be a bit gentle. He's gone much thinner contact than I expected him to make. If he wants to play the in off now, it would have to be a forcer. So I'm going to go for a cannon here. He may have to come off the top cushion first, but I don't think he's given. Has he given that enough? He just has. This is better. So we'd all love to see Mick make a bit of a break here. So a cannon and a pot there. So 2 points for the cannon and 3 for the pot red. So that's a 5 shot in total there. And options again here to either play in off the white and bring it up the table, to leave that drop cannon, or in off to the centre pocket we were talking about. Again, he's opted for the, I'm surprised he's going for the thinner contact there. I would have thought a fuller contact, and he has much more control on the in off. So now he's betwixt in between, because this could be a hit and hope. Oh, he's a bit covered there. So if he's confident in the true run of the table, he could play this as a gentle cannon, just thin off the red onto the white. Good chance to bring the red into play here and give himself options. Now don't block it, stay side by side, that's okay. Typical shot from Dave is to play this from further to his right, where Mick is there, nearer to what in snooker terms would be the yellow spot. And he would have played the cannon, sending the cue ball down, the white ball down behind the spot, and beyond the pot red. But Dave's back in again. Just watch how quickly Dave can control the balls. So he's coming to the table with nothing much on in a huge way. The red is tied up a bit on the cushion, so he'll play a long and off here now. Oh, he's moving the red immediately. Yes, he's fed up hanging around. I must say, I thought he would have run the in-offs and then get a drop cannon. That's ideally what he'll try and do. He's always wanting to place the yellow into a good position as well, and that's why he's gone for the in-off. And he'll leave the red for the moment until he gets the yellow exactly where he wants it, if he's happy that he can get. So yellow onto the side cushion and the top cushion, and the white will just gently move the red. And suddenly there's the pot on, and while the yellow is a bit too far to one side of the table, in about 3 or 4 shots Dave will position his cue ball to move that yellow. So you're only allowed 2 pots off the red in succession, and that's why he's run through the 2 cushions up to the centre. And this time he may have the angle to get himself down behind the yellow. That's exactly what he's tried to do. Remember I was saying a couple of shots ago that he would move the yellow back behind the billiard spot. That's exactly what will happen in this next shot here. It's gone a little bit further, but it'll only take 2 more correctional shots and a bit of side now to get up high. Hasn't quite got up enough. He would have been able to correct it there, but he'll have to wait for a moment. Played the cannon there and the pot because he had already had one pot red off the spot, so to save himself having to go up to the centre of the table, that's why he's elected to do it this way. And now, actually this drop cannon for ordinary players looks wide, but Dave managed to swing these a lot directly. I don't know how he does it, but I always have to come off the top cushion with a bit of check side to make those work. So if you're new to the game of billiards, I'd strongly suggest have a look at the YouTube channel of World Billiards, and you'll see a whole wonderful library of great matches that have been recorded by TYP Live, and it's a wonderful resource of how the game should and can be played. You can see Dave suddenly has the yellow back where he wants it, and a drag pot here now just to slow the cue ball down, and suddenly he's back in business. But the more you watch, the more you'll get to appreciate the skill set involved in how the top players play this game. Dave was having a check there to see that the cue ball or the red ball would spot on the billiard spot. The referee may just have to check now, and if it doesn't, yes, it's gone on the pyramid spot, as it's known in billiards. Loads of check side there. You see the cue ball went onto the cushion and stopped, came straight back rather than heading up the table. Deep screw to get high. He wasn't high enough up, so now he has the opportunity to come off the top cushion with a bit of right hand side and onto the yellow, and there it is, moves the yellow back up. And so with monotonous regularity he can play the cannon, moving the yellow down towards the cushion, and then in one shot get it behind it and kick it back up again. Now can he gently hold the red here, or does he have to send it in? He has to send it in and out of balk. Dave's a master as well at the gentle little screw into the corner pockets without moving the red too much. But just needs to run a couple of in-offs now to get the better position for a drop cannon. And that's more or less it. It's kind of V-shape across the table from one side to the other. Just watch how gently he hits this to make sure the red stays near the pocket and makes the contact with the yellow. Slightly hampered in the queuing here, but I expect him to be able to maneuver this. Going for deep screw on the yellow for the cannon, and he's got it, and a little bit of help from the yellow there. And again, little cannon off the yellow now, or does he need to? No, he's very happy to get the pot red, and now he'll rescue the yellow, as in to go in off skinny and try and take it off the side cushion and out into the open, leaving himself that V drop cannon again. And again, right hand side from Dave, and just comes right over. Another century from Dave. I think he's had about 4 visits in this match, and so his average is pretty awesome at the moment. Just glanced the cannon there as well. I got the cannon, so
You got the cannon.
yeah.
Yeah, it should be same.
So that's why the red stays. A combination, by the way, viewers, if you're allowed 2 pots in succession and then the red ball is put on the centre spot, but if it's in conjunction with another shot, and Dave played the cannon and the pot, that's why the red stayed down on the billiard spot. Send the red across the table now and get the cannon. And doesn't want this to pot, just wants it to hang in there as it's done. And now I imagine that he'll play if he's the right angle on the yellow, he'll play in off and just gently put the yellow ball behind the billiard spot there. Look at that. Perfection. With the red hanging, just bring the cue ball off about a foot. And now he's back in position. Now, it's remarkable the speed with which he puts together the positional side of the game. Little gentle cannon off the yellow to move the red. Make the pot guaranteed. Bit of left-hand side to bring the cue ball off the side cushion and out. And we've 5 minutes left, and Dave could still score another 100 points. Yeah, I wonder could he make the 1,000? Wouldn't that be something? So for the average mere mortal, a 400 point match would take about 2 hours. So Dave's already, it's a bit like using a microwave, he's managed to get 855 points in the best part of 55 minutes. And again, perfectly positioned now for either the in-off to the centre or the drop cannon. If he doesn't like the angle of the drop cannon, play the red back up again until he's happy with it.
It's got a 147 break.
Yes. Well, when I practice with Dave, I'm very fortunate that he comes and stays in my house occasionally when he's in Ireland, and he gives me 500 points handicap start per hour, and I can't beat him. So
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
well, he's certainly going to make the 900 points.
Certainly hope so.
And this will be a fantastic match to use as a library resource to just see the skill set involved in playing perfect top of the table, as it's called, TOTT, top of the table. A combination of potting and little cannons. And I think we've seen Dave he's had to go up to the centre spot on maybe 3 occasions, but other than that, he has been perfection personified in how to control the cue ball. Again, lots of right hand side on the cue ball there, so when it hit the cushion it straightened out, and a bit of running side now to bounce up. You'll have to play the cannon here now onto the yellow.
There's the 900.
Quiet day at the office for Dave.
A ton in 2 minutes. What are we thinking?
Well, if he stays at the table here, I would think he could easily get to 940 something. That's what I'm predicting, Sam. There's Postman's Knock again from that wonderful movie, The Postman Always Rings Twice. And oh, he's missed. He hasn't.
Oh,
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't.
Oh.
Everyone
Not,
go in there.
not suggesting for a moment that he elbowed the table as he went past.
Yes.
Oh, now has he got a bit of cover here? Can he see the red? He's going to have to run through off the yellow. So loads of
Lots
left hand
left.
side.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
great shot. But now he's going to be able to play in off the red, bring the red up to the centre, and then he'll be back in business, because now he'll be able to play his in off yellow, which puts the yellow, he'll position the yellow behind the spot again. And there it goes. Look at that. That's ridiculous. to perfection. And again, in off the red to get a better angle. Oh, don't hit the yellow. Yep. And now if he's happy with the pot, he'll come take the pot. Oh, he's going to do one more in off. Just not happy with the potting position, so that's why he's taking one more in off. And this looks like a drop cannon position now. And he may play for the double kiss on the yellow here, not moving the yellow at all.
Yeah,
that's what he
there's
did.
the double.
Yeah, now he will screw off the red, send it in and out of balk and come back onto the yellow, I would think, unless he goes for the pot. But I would expect him to screw off onto the yellow. That's it. And watch the pace on the red to leave the pot on. Just jangle in the pocket there, don't come too far. So he'll have to use right hand side and screw to come back into the pocket, which he's done. And just depends on how this finishes. And as always with Dave, it's virtually perfect. Needs to drag this quite a lot over to the yellow. And he does that with such ease and doesn't lose the red, as they say. By that I mean sending the red too far up the table. Well, 9:41, he's got 5 seconds. 4, 3. What a match. 943 points. A masterclass from the supreme Dave Causier.
And a masterclass from yourself there, Angus. That was a pleasure to listen to.
Thank you, Sam, and you're doing great work, and this
Thank
is
you.
exactly what billiards needs, so we're thrilled that the live streaming is like that, you know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Just as Angus. Cheers, Angus. And, we'll be back in about 15 minutes' time for session 8. See you shortly.